Today on the Big Dog Holler Barbecue channel, we're making some backyard pulled pork. So stay tuned and find out how we did it. Welcome to the Holler, everybody. To get this pulled pork started, what we have here is roughly an 8-pound pork butt that we picked up from our local butcher, Fisher's Meat, here in eastern Indiana. And then for the ingredients, we're actually keeping it quite simple. Marty has brought us a handful of ingredients here. So we have some coarse ground black pepper from Rural King, as well as some Lowry seasoned salt. And then for our spritz, we're going to use some Dad's root beer to spray on the outside throughout the cook here. So let's get this unwrapped and get things started. So as you can see, we have our pork butt out of the packaging here. We have some beautiful marbling throughout the meat as well, which is great to see. And that's going to be the start of the show during this cook. I believe it was early on in Barbecue Pitmasters that I saw this. I think it was Big Mo Cason that did this to his pork butts. We're actually going to remove the fat cap on this to try to get as much bark as possible during this cook. With the fat cap on, it does provide a little bit of protection, but it's something that you're going to probably throw away after the cook is over there if it doesn't render out enough. So we're going to get this removed and we'll be right back. So as you can see, we have most of that fat cap removed. All that's left is just a very thin amount on top there. I would expect that to render out during the cooking process. We have our scraps off here to the side. Actually going to throw that in like a bread pan or something like that on our smoker to have that render out and make some lard. But all that's left to do is start seasoning. So with our coarse ground black pepper from Rural King here, let's go on first. Nice even layer on top, and we'll get all sides on this as well. And once again, we're taking the fat cap off because there is so much fat throughout the pork butt itself that theoretically it should not be a problem staying moist. And if it does, we'll spray it with some root beer throughout. And then we have our Lowry seasoned salt. That's the only other thing we're going to add to this pork butt. We'll kind of pat it in and then go get our smoker fired up here. Definitely going more of a Texas style seasoning today. This is certainly popular down south, so we figured we'd give it a try. And like I said, we'll get all sides seasoned and be right back. Alright, so we're going to let this seasoning adhere probably 30 minutes to an hour. You could certainly season the night before and let this sit in the fridge overnight. While it does adhere, we're going to go outside, get the Weber Smokey Mountain 22-inch fired up. We're going to be using the Minion method today. Some Jealous Devil charcoal briquettes around the outside, and then a couple Kingsford Matchlight charcoal pieces on the inside to get that lit nice and easy. So we'll meet you out in the smoker. So as you can see, we're out here at the Weber. It's still cranking up to 250 and 275 degrees, but we are going to go ahead and get it on, trying to avoid a little bit of rain here. So let's get this open to give it a nice extra smoke from some of this darker smoke here until that burns through cleanly. But we have that on. We have our fat on as well to render out, and we'll see you probably in 2 to 3 hours and get this sprayed. So after just over 3 hours, we're back out here at the Weber Smokey Mountain. As you can see, we're running a touch hot, so we've closed some of the vents down here. But let's take a look at our pork. Great color starting to form. A lot of moisture still generally on the pork butt here, but we're going to take some of our Dad's root beer and spray the outside of it just to get a little bit more moisture all over that pork butt here. And that should impart a nice sweetness to it as well. But otherwise, we're going to let it keep riding, looking for even more bark formation and get it pulled off and likely put into a pan from there. So see you then. So after another 2 hours, we're back out here at the Weber. Let's take a look at our pork butt. As you can see, there's some great moisture retention. We only sprayed it once, as well as some good bark forming here, probing at roughly 160 to 170. So we're going to go ahead and get this pulled off, brought inside, and wrapped up. Alright, to wrap this pork butt, we're going to go with the foil boat method. As you can see, we have a couple pads of high quality butter, as well as some brown sugar, and then sprayed it with a little bit of root beer there. So let's grab our pork butt and get that placed over here. We're going to grab our root beer once again and go over the top with it just to get a little extra flavor and moisture. This pork butt, and I'm spraying the paper as well here, this pork butt is staying incredibly moist, so I think this is going to work out excellent here. And we're going to wrap so that the top isn't fully covered with our 2 sheets of aluminum foil. This method is going to allow us to keep as much of that bark intact as possible. Still getting a little bit of extra smoke on top there, not a ton. Get this wrapped up on this side as well. And there we go. So we'll meet you back out at the smoker and let it ride again. We're back out here at the Weber. As you can see on the dial, we've started cranking up the temperature now that things are wrapped. So let's get this pork butt back on. And at this point, we're just waiting for it to be probing tender, adding a little bit more color to the top there, and we'll see you when it's done. So after another 2 hours, we're back out here at the Weber. Let's take a look here. Probing like butter. Everywhere is 195 to 200 internal. So we're gonna get this pulled off and let it rest for at least an hour, and we'll see you then. All right, so after just over an hour rest, we're ready to start pulling this pork butt. So first, let's get this out of the tin foil here. Feels nice and tender, which is a great sign. And as you can see, it held on to most of the bark, so also a very good sign. And now that's all that's left to do is dig in here. So let's start getting this pulled. Bone comes out nice and clean. That's always a good sign as well. Let's set that off to the side and get the rest of this shredded up. So as you can see, we have everything fully shredded here. Let me move that bone aside. We have a great smoke ring around the perimeter of the entire pork butt here, and only a couple pieces of fat that I really had to remove. So it stayed plenty moist even while removing the fat cap, so I would say this was a success. Now, since the inside may not have gotten much of any seasoning, we're going to add a little bit more of our Lawry's. Not a ton here since it is very salty, but just enough to get a good flavor. We'll mix that up and be right back. So now that we have it extra seasoned, we're ready to make a sandwich, pair it with some coleslaw or maybe even just your favorite barbecue sauce, or you could just eat it plain here as well, as it is delicious. Let me know in the comment section below if you've ever taken the fat cap off a pork butt yourself and what the results were. But there you have it, backyard barbecue pulled pork without the fat cap, Big Dog Holler style. Whoever eats the most gets the most, so dig in.